Hi and welcome to Castle of the Games. This is Arcade Hero here just kind of by myself. We might have a visit from Baby Bop, but I'm just firing up my Atari XEGS, a game console released in 1987, which was essentially the Atari 8-bit computer line, and I'm using something that's kind of like a cartridge hard drive thing, a compact flash drive that allows me to have a bunch of ROMs played on real hardware. And so yeah, we'll record a run through the seminal River Raid. Not everybody is familiar with the Atari 8-bit version, as it was called. Most people know this on the Atari 2600, but I will play through this and see how far I can go, play till I die, well, lose all of my lives. But just one thing that you're not seeing on the recording, I've tested this out already. For some reason on my TV, the image occasionally blinks and occasionally just has a very bizarre, I don't know what it's called, an artifact or something. It glitches out, and so hopefully that doesn't happen at the wrong time and kill me. But for some reason it only shows up on the TV, it doesn't show up on the capture, but whatever, we'll get started here. On the 2600 version I can go through the first level and hit everything, but this one I already did not do that. And there was a glitch there on my TV. This is the fun part, blowing up the bridge. And then of course every second level you have it where things split. Now, as a fan of shoot 'em up games, I'm kind of surprised that over the years there really hasn't been a lot of River Raid style games. I mean, this is just such a good, fun game. Before endless runners were a thing, this is an endless shooter of a sort, although I guess it is supposed to end after 255 screens, as they called them, instead of levels. Although I have never been fortunate enough to make it that far. Crap. Gotta be careful there, that tank will start shooting at you sometimes. Although I think usually when we get a little further ahead. There's one thing I am seeing a lot of with the capture device. I've got my XEGS set up through composite, just the yellow video cable and then the white audio cable, through an HDMI upscaler, and then that goes into my HDMI capture device, so probably not the optimal thing for capturing old video, but yeah, it does cause a number of artifacts on the screen. Ghosts, I guess. Take that, you tank. Oh, now we have the jets flying across the screen. So most of the enemies you see here, except for the hot air balloons, were in the 2600 version. Of course, this version also adds in the elaborate, I guess if you want to use that word, canyon walls instead of it being the flat edges. So that was the extra power offered by by the computer line. I mean, the 2600 was an 8-bit machine. It used just a slightly downgraded processor that was found in almost everything in the days. The 6502, the MOS 6502, which was in the NES, and Atari 7800. Just the 2600 version used the 6507, which just ran at a slightly slower clock speed, but it was still an 8-bit thing. That's always been a pet peeve of mine with calling things 8-bit graphics, just because you could make an 8-bit processor that runs at 4 gigahertz, and things would look a heck of a lot different than this. But wants to do that. So my strategy is usually I try and slow down over every fuel tank that I can. And then shoot it at the very end. Get myself a few extra points. And this is where this version starts to get a little more difficult, is these jagged edges everywhere. Take out the tank. Actually, a few years ago I was using what's called the Shoot 'em Up kit to try and make something like a River Raid game, but just that engine wasn't ready, I guess, for what I was trying to do. I was too ambitious with it. Although I probably should go back by now and check and see all the updates and see how it handles things now. Woohoo! And I'm almost out of fuel. So let's... Oh, hey, one of the shooting helicopters. Didn't have time to stop and chat. And of course, this is the other difficulty of the game, is when it decides to stop really giving you fuel tanks. And lots of guys on the screen. That's always fun, shoot a row of guys. Oh, here we go. Fueltopia. Now it just throws a ton of them. Oh crap, shot too soon on that one. So yeah, if you're familiar with 2600 River Raid, then you notice another thing other than a few extra enemies in the graphics is this one has a lot more stuff that shoots. Like that guy. Ah! I hate those enemies. This time, let's go over here. My best guess is these must be Soviets, just judging on the era that this was, the Cold War. I guess I should have read the manual. That's one of those things with old Atari games. Didn't really read the manual a lot of the time, which is why I'm sure they tried to spruce things up with doing comic book manuals like on Star Raiders. Well, kind of Star Raiders. It was more Yar's Revenge. Kind of had that. But there was a few 2600 games that just, gosh, came with comic books. There we go. A little better that time. Oh, jeez. Alright, I think I'm down to my last guy, so maybe this will be over soon. But if it is, thanks for watching through this so far. Let's give it a go. Ah. There's Baby Bop coming her way. Yeah, we made it. Of course. Thank you. She's bringing me her pretend food. So that's what she's been into lately. Ah! Well, there we go. That's game over for River Raid. Thank you for watching me play through this. What did you think of that, Baby Bop? Even though you were on here for like 10 seconds. No comment?
You hate my tip.
Okay.